All right, hello and welcome back to Tom Q's Tech Tips. Today we are taking a look at a follow-up to a video I made a few months ago, which was basically targeted towards the folks at FiLMiC. I was telling an idea I had about being able to reverse control a DJI Osmo from the FiLMiC remote app without interfering with the controls that are in the app. In this follow-up, I'm actually going to expand who I'm targeting. This is still a proof of concept, but I think we're taking it one step further. I'm going to be asking Switcher Studio to look at this, FiLMiC Pro, and also a brand new player on the block in this realm, which is Movie Pro. So they just introduced Clean HDMI out of their app. So anyway, without any further ado, I'm going to switch over to another view, and I'm going to basically show you what the approach that Switcher Studio has taken. So anyway, let's switch over to a view where you can actually see two camera views of my DJI Osmo. You're seeing one of the iPhone that's focused on me, and then this view is the Switcher Studio app, which is basically an app that would take the place of a hardware switcher like what I'm using. Basically, these are the inputs or the different effects that you can do. And I'm just interested in this one camera, which is the one that you're seeing up here. And what you do is you move your finger in the preview area of the Switcher app. So I'm just going to start touching it, and you can start seeing the gimbal move from different angles, and of course what it's aimed at. And so anyway, I'm gonna pan down, I'm gonna pan up at the ceiling, I'm gonna pan, let's get it back here, and let's pan left, and let's pan right. So it has a lot of range. It's about 180 degrees from left to right, and I don't know what it is in degrees up and down. This is just the limitation of the Osmo, but basically the app lets you do anything that the Osmo can do as far as panning and tilting. And then it also has the ability to zoom. So you can remotely control the zoom. The FiLMiC app and the Movie Pro app have that ability to remotely control zoom and exposure. They have something, though, that this app does not have. And from this view that you're in right now, you can't tell that it doesn't have this, but it's a critical feature, which is Clean HDMI out. So basically right now, because of the view that I'm in and the view that you had before, let's just switch back to that, the scene is cropped so tightly you can't see it. But I'm going to go ahead and come up to it right here. So this is basically the interface for the cameras that are connected to the Switcher. So this is Switcher Studio, and you know, it's basically up here at the top. It's got a tally, which is letting the person that's running this camera know that they are the one that's the live camera. And then of course there's the zoom option over here, and then there's some controls for exposure here, and then this little guy up at the very top, that's actually the button that I had to click to connect to the DJI Osmo. So as a request to the folks at Switcher, of course I don't know what interest they've got in this, so I'm gonna explain a minute, you know, how the Switcher pricing works. The FiLMiC Pro and the Movie Pro apps are one-time purchases, around $20 or less than $20 with the remote apps. Switcher Studio, let me move over here, and I'm going to go ahead and switch views. Let's go back to this. Let's see. There we go. So Switcher Studio, it's a full switching product. So you're not buying a hardware switcher like the Blackmagic ATEM Mini Extreme that I'm using right now, you just pay them a weekly or monthly or yearly fee, and with your iPad or iPhone, you can actually control other iPads and iPhones that are connected to it, and even other sources. So and media that you preload into it. So it's a pretty interesting concept. I decided to go with the hardware switcher a number of years ago. So I'm not going back to this, but folks at Switcher Studio, I am interested in your ability to move this camera around with my finger remotely. So I do conferences. I've got cameras that are 10, 15 feet away from me, and I would love to be able to, and I don't know, you can actually see that little notification. There's another instance of not having clean HDMI out burning me. So notifications are coming on the screen. That would not happen with FiLMiC or with Movie Pro. I would like, and I'm gonna zoom. Let's go to a slightly different view. I'm going to go to this view, and I'm going to zoom out to a wide angle so you can see a little bit better. There we go. So you're actually seeing me controlling my switching over here using MixEffect. This is the Switcher Studio interface. Here's my gimbal. And there's my screen back there that you were looking at a minute ago with the pricing. So again, I'm touching this, and the gimbal is moving around, and it's super responsive. I'm actually thrilled with this. I had actually purchased a. We can switch back to my view for a sec. I purchased a DJI Osmo 3 that I think it was just defective, but it was so frustrating trying to get it to balance that I didn't think there was any hope that I could also balance it with the cables. Let's see, let's just go over to number 2 for a second. With the cables that are connected to it so this is the Lightning to HDMI out with charger and HDMI cable attached to it. And I was thinking, let's go back to SuperSource. I was thinking that the weight of those cables was going to make this impossible. And with my first experiment with the Osmo 3, it confirmed my worries. So I was thinking maybe this is why FiLMiC never did anything with this. But anyway, as soon as I applied for my return for the Osmo 3, one of my sons came in the door with an Osmo 4 that he had just purchased. And he asked me if I wanted to try it out. And of course I wanted to try it out. So it just worked. It just worked so smoothly right out of the box. So I subscribed to let's just go back to this view. I subscribed to the 14-day trial that you see up at the top there. Choose the pricing that's right for you, or start a free 14-day trial. So I'm about a week into this, and I had actually made this video last week, but in between, Movie Pro just announced Clean HDMI out. So I went ahead and remaking it because I'm going to appeal to them too. So going back to this view right here. So Switcher Studio, I was thinking that I might be able to, worst case scenario, pay them the $20 for their 7-day pass for any conferences that I might do. So $20 per conference, I'd be able to hook up my phone to my switcher and then control it with the switcher app. But I didn't realize that they don't have clean HDMI out of the camera. So they do have clean HDMI out of the program feed. So whatever's your live thing, it does produce clean HDMI out. but it's a huge buffer between what's live and what the program out does. So with a hardware switcher, it just isn't going to work. So anyway, switcher, you've already got this figured out. If you could either, in your Switcher Studio product, just give the cameras the ability to do clean HDMI out, or a separate little app. Just break it out in a separate little app that has a remote control and the ability to do the clean HDMI out of the camera. So however you might want to do it. But then this is also an appeal to FiLMiC Pro and Movie Pro, that these guys over at Switcher have figured something out, and it works. Where's there? Oh yeah, let's just get this in a little bit better. There we go. Let's pull that back. I've got the weight of these cables coming down, and they're just kind of, originally thought I was going to have to wrap them around the phone and get them as close to the balance as possible, but they can just be hanging there. So again, this is actually the control seems very smooth. I'm not actually getting a live feed on the program video for some reason. I'm not sure why that is, but it's not affecting me touching it and panning and tilting. Could have something to do with the network and the fact that this is an iPad Mini 4, like this, one of the slowest things that can control this. So anyway, I really think that's all I need to talk about. It's just, this works. Movie Pro or FiLMiC Pro. I don't know how hard this is. So, that could have been something that took them a year to figure out. I don't know. But, as far as proof of concept, they've demonstrated that it can be done. It would be a slight divergence of what Movie Pro or FiLMiC Pro does. It would be like a TV studio production, not a movie production, but a TV studio production. So allowing the iPhone to be able to be a studio camera that's controlled remotely by a one-man show, basically, that would be controlling the production. So I can be over, what can you see? I'm over here switching different views with my MixEffect, and but then I'm still able to, let's go over to this view. I'm able to control the cameras that are in the room. I could have multiple iPhones on multiple Osmos. So anyway, I think that's all I wanted to, let's switch over to another view here. Just say goodbye to everybody. So anyway, if you guys that are watching that aren't with FiLMiC or Movie Pro or Switcher Studio, if this is something you're interested in, I'm going to provide links in the description to reach out to the different companies. FiLMiC, I know, has a request form on their webpage. I'll check into Movie Pro and Switcher Studio to see if they do. But anyway, also think about giving this a thumbs up if you think this is worthwhile. Or if one last thing, if you know of another product that lets you use the Osmo to control a phone with a clean HDMI out and a remote app, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And thanks for tuning in.